Hey everyone, welcome to the channel. All things Middle-earth here with a video looking at every single tier 4 unit available in the game. So if you're trying to decide what faction you want to play as, maybe you've played in Season 1, didn't have a great experience, and you want to get some more information on what faction you should play as in Season 2, I'm going to have every single tier 4 unit coming up in just a second. Now I would like to say before I get into the video that the tier 4 unit is not the only thing you should base this decision on. There are a lot of other factors that go into it, but I wanted to at least cover this part of that topic. So if you find this video helpful, consider subscribing and join our community here on YouTube and hit that like button so more people can find this information and hopefully make better informed decisions on what factions they want to play as. So with all that out of the way, let's go ahead and jump into the video. Alright, so we're going to go through all of the different units in the game, and I'll put some pictures up on the screen so you can see each of the units and what different abilities they have. I'm going to be going through in a order voted on by the Discord. You know, I want to go ahead and say that just because a certain unit did not get a lot of votes doesn't mean it's bad, but I think it's an okay starting place for us as we're working through it. So we're going to go from least popular to most popular in terms of the progression through these. By the way, that Discord is linked in the description below, so if you want to take part in future polls or things like we do on the channel where we look at stuff like this, and that'll be linked below as well. But let's go ahead and jump into it. The first tier 4 unit we're going to look at that got the least amount of votes is going to be Mordor's Ravager. Now, I was a little surprised on this one, but again, we're not going to focus too much on the votes. We're just going to look at all these so you can at least have the information in front of you. But this did receive the least amount of votes compared to all the other tier 4 units. So we got the Ravager here, and its special abilities are going to be Large Unit, which is going to reduce physical damage that the Ravager receives, and then Savagery, which is going to give the Ravager a chance every round of attacking all enemies. So definitely a very bulky unit, very few units per command, pretty high damage, pretty high health, but again, you can only take 4 of these guys per command, so you have to keep that in mind. I think they have their uses, but it doesn't seem like they're that popular right now. I've heard that they're just not quite better than the tier 3 troll to like really justify them being a great option. But again, as with all of these units, I'd love to hear what you guys think in the comments below, and if you've gotten use out of a certain tier 4 unit that maybe wasn't as popular, I'd love to hear about that in the comments below. So that is Mordor's Ravager sitting in 10th place. In 9th place, next up is going to be Linden's Noldor Longshot. This is a ranged unit. If you're playing as Linden, you're going to get this one as the tier 4 unit here. They have the Keen Eye ability, which is going to give them a chance to avoid enemies' avoidance stat each round, and that's Keen Eye. And then they're going to have Volley, which is against 2 targets. They're going to attack starting out at level 1 for 101.3 damage on rounds 1, 4, 7, and 10, and their normal attacks are disabled. So pretty interesting, but again, pretty low on the list in terms of what the votes were. That does not mean they're not a solid unit, but just that's the 9th in terms of votes on the list. Next, just ahead of that one in 8th place is going to be Arnor's Ranger of the North. This is another ranged tier 4 unit. They are going to have the Scouting Tactics ability, which is when battling on non-structured land, their damage dealt is increased and their damage received is decreased. So it's going to go up to 10% damage dealt and 10% damage reduction there for Scouting Tactics. And then Protector of the North, they're going to have defense +2, and they absorb enemy normal attacks against allied ranged units. So they're kind of a ranged, but they have some tankiness. They can help out other ranged units. So kind of interesting, but that defense would max out at 20 +20 defense for them for Protector of the North. So that is the Ranger of the North there for Arnor. Next up in 7th place is the War Chariot. The War Chariot is Rune's tier 4 unit, and they are going to have the ability Reap, which is going to have them deal an extra 20% damage maxed out against melee units. And then Scythes, which is against 2 enemy targets. It inflicts bleeding, causing the target to suffer 30% physical damage, which is continuous every round for 1 round. So that is Scythes and Reap for the War Chariot in Rune. Next up, I believe this is in 6th place. I may be losing count here, but next on the list is going to be the Isengard tier 4, the Snaga Thrak. They're going to have 2 abilities, which is going to be Cool-Headed. They are unaffected by madness, which is very nice, and they have speed +20. And then Cruelty, this is for 1 allied unit. It deals 20% damage and increases damage dealt by 100%, and there's no effect if there are no allied units remaining. Next up, we have Lothlorien's tier 4 unit, the March Warden Warden, they have 2 abilities. They have Keen Eye. They have a 100% chance when it's maxed out to ignore enemies' avoidance stats each round. And then Indomitable, they have unaffected by stun and defense plus 20. Pretty solid tier 4 unit here for the Elves of Lothlorien. Especially moving forward, a lot of these I think are very, very solid. I think once we got to like the halfway point, we're definitely starting to see just some really all-around great tier 4 units. But next up we have Gondor's tier 4 unit, the Swan Knight. Now, the Swan Knights have 2 abilities. They have Mounted, which all of the mounted tier 4s are going to have this mounted ability, or they receive 10% less damage. And then the second ability here is going to be Protector. For the first 3 rounds, they're going to have defense, an extra 100 defense, and take all damage from normal attacks on behalf of all allies. So very, very good unit there for Gondor as the tier 4. Next up is going to be Erebor's tier 4 unit, the Iron Warrior. Now, they're going to have 2 abilities. The Battler's Bane against melee units, they're going to do an extra 20% damage when that's maxed out. And then full armor, their physical damage received is going to be reduced by 15% when that is maxed out. For a very, very tanky unit for Erebor here as the tier 4 unit. Next up, we're looking at Rohan's tier 4 unit, which is going to be the Marshal. They have an ability called Onslaught, where the damage dealt is going to be increased by 56%, which is modified by the speed stat, and the effect diminishes by 1/3 with each damage dealt, so slowly reducing over the course of rounds. And then mounted, like every mounted type of troop, they are going to receive 10% less damage. And last but not least, we have the Fallen. This is Angmar's tier 4 unit. They are, again, a mounted troop, so they're going to have the mounted ability as well as Spite, which is they're going to deal extra damage up to 10 stacks, starting out at 0.06% upon receiving damage. So their damage is going to ramp up over time. And then, like I said, the mounted ability where they're going to, at the max level, reduce their damage received by 10%. So that is a quick look at every single tier 4 unit in the game. Now, again, this was a vote taken in the Discord. It's only been up for less than 24 hours at this point. So things may shuffle around more if we gave it more time or if I put it on a different platform. So bear in mind that these rankings are not the end-all, be-all. If your favorite tier 4 was lower on the list, it's okay. It doesn't mean that it's a bad tier 4. But this was just giving me a quick look at what a small majority thought maybe was a relatively decent order for these. So again, going through from least popular to most popular, starting with the Ravager, ending with the Fallen is how things ended up. But again, there are many decisions that should go into your choice for picking a faction, like having an active group to play with, the starting region bonuses, all kinds of stuff like that, which I will be covering in future videos. But I wanted to get the video out there on the tier 4 units so you can hopefully have a good idea for what tier 4 units are available in the game. And maybe if one just looks fun to you, then you can try that one out and see how you like it in a future season. But that is going to do it for me in this one, and I hope to see you all in a future video.